Hi, I'm Wendy from Wendy's Soy Candles to show you how I make my candles. Measuring, melting and pouring. Now it's time for the fun stuff. Depending on the size of your jar will depend on how much wax and fragrance you will need. In this video I am using large Monaco jars and medium apothecary jars. Both hold approximately 310 grams of wax. So when you have measured your wax, you can add your colour with the dye block or with liquid colour. You can now add the colour to your wax. If you're using a dye block, just cut off a small amount and place it with your wax. The more you put in, the darker the dye will be. Then put it in your pot ready to melt. Liquid dye is added once in the pot for obvious reasons. Otherwise it will then not be very practical to put it in your other container. The more colour you use, obviously the darker it will be. This applies to your liquid colour as well. While your wax is starting to melt, I normally measure and prepare my wax and colour for my next candle. Then I go back and gently stir my wax until it is melted. This will help stop it from clumping, as I mentioned before, with a wooden spoon. Once your wax is melted, add your fragrance. In the size jars that I am using, I normally add 2 cupfuls of fragrance. For a larger jar, I would use 3 cupfuls. For a smaller jar, I would probably only use 1. But sometimes you have to gauge the strength of your fragrance. Some fragrances have a natural stronger scent, others are a little bit weaker, so you will get to judge this as you go along. Now that you have added your fragrance, remove the pot from the water and wipe around the bottom and the sides. This will stop any water dripping into your pouring jug. Once you have placed your wax in your jug, return the pot to the stove, making sure that you wipe out your pot before putting your other wax in it. This will stop your colour and your fragrance from blending into the next lot of wax that you're about to melt. Once you have poured your next lot of prepared wax into your saucepan, I then go back and wait for my next one before I actually pour my melted wax into my jar that's ready to go. This way you have a bit of a roll on and you're always prepared for your next one, and you're not standing around waiting to, oh, I've got to go do it type thing. Now that you have prepared and weighed your wax again for the next jar that you are going to do after the one that is already melting, you can then now go back to the jug that has your melted wax in it and pour it into your container. If you have measured your wax correctly, there will be none left over and it will fit perfectly into your jar. Continue doing this until all the jars that you have are full, and then after that it's just a bit of a waiting game. Normally your jars will take a little longer to set in the warmer weather than they do in the colder weather for obvious reasons. So normally I will leave my jars for at least about 6 hours to dry before I come back and start to trim the wicks and finish them off. So just leave them wherever you're doing them, go away, do some stuff, come back and just check. If you just touch the top of it, you'll feel that it's hard enough. Then after that's done, after they're ready to be finished off, get your wick trimmer and just place it on the top of your candle with your wick poking up through the hole in the trimmer. Just snip off the top of it and put your lid on, and your candle is now ready to sell, to use, to give away, or just to look at and enjoy.